Yes. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, done with pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everybody who have joined the group and are about to join and will join us on YouTube later on. Let us start with the Manglacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurulmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Prabhuji. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 2, and the text for today is text 5, Prabhuji. Over to you.
Narayan Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tata Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya Bhagavate Yutam Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Nashtaki.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the internet went for a second. It came back. Okay. Translation and proper wise. Separation from his eyes. Thus, Vidur could understand that Uddhav had completely assimilated extensive love for the Lord. You can read the purport, Mataji.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The symptoms of the highest order of the devotional life were observed by Vidura, an experienced devotee of the Lord, and he confirmed Uddhava's perfection stage of love of Godhead. Ecstatic bodily changes are manifested from the spiritual plane and are not artificial expressions, developed by practice. There are 3 different stages of development in devotional service. The first stage is that of following the regulatory principles prescribed in the codes of devotional service. The second stage is that of assimilation and realization of the steady condition of devotional service. And the third stage is that of ecstasy symptomized by transcendental bodily expression. The 9 different modes of devotional service, such as hearing, chanting, remembering, are the beginning of the process. By regular hearing of the glories and pastimes of the Lord, the impurities in the student's heart begin to be washed off. The most one is cleansed of impurities. The more one becomes fixed in devotional service. Gradually, the activities take the form of steadiness, firm faith, taste, realization, and assimilation, one after another. These different stages of gradual development increase love of God to the highest stage. And in the highest stage,
Carry on.
and in the highest stage, and in that are still more symptoms such as affection, anger, and attachment, gradually rising in exceptional cases to the Mahabhava stage, which is gradually not possible for the living entities. All these were manifested by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the personification of love of God. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami, the chief disciple of the Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these transcendental symptoms displayed by a pure devotee like Uddhava are symmetrically described. We have written a summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu entitled The Nectar of Devotion, and one may consult this book for the detailed information on the science of devotional service.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Actually, over to you.
So everyone, welcome to this special Bhagavatam class. I'll repeat the verse again. It was so observed by Vidur that Uddhava had all the transcendental bodily changes due to total ecstasy, and he was trying to wipe away tears of separation from his eyes. Thus Vidur could understand that Uddhava had completely assimilated extensive love for the Lord. So this is a meeting between Vidura and Uddhava. And when Vidura meets Uddhava and asks about Krishna, he could see in him, Vidura observed the highest order of ecstatic symptoms in Uddhava. He had perfected the highest kind of love of Godhead. These symptoms cannot appear if you have not perfected your love of Krishna. Many times we have discussed that love of Krishna goes on very systematically. In, I think, about 3 classes, I'd given you 9 steps. I think by now most of you remember. Ado Shraddha. First, you need a very strong faith. Very strong faith means full conviction and love for Krishna. Ado Shraddha. Then, Sadhu Sangha. By associating with devotees, that faith will be increased. Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha. Then, that attraction for hearing and chanting will begin. So that is called Bhajana Kriya, the third one. Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. Anartha Nivritti. The fourth one is all those things which are detrimental of the devotional service, they will be removed. It also means some of our unwanted, useless habits will go away. So Anartha Nivritti. Then comes Nishtha. Nishtha means determination to chant our rounds regularly. That is called Nishtha. And after Nishtha comes Ashakti. You become attracted to Krishna. Then comes Bhava. And then comes Prema. So this goes on all step by step, very systematically. And it's very clear that Uddhav had reached a very high level, prema. Without prema or love of God, these symptoms cannot appear. Just like when a lover sees a lover, even in the material world, forget spiritual world, the attraction is so strong that they want to meet each other. They want to see each other. And even when they are not present in front of each other, they remember each other if they are far from each other. So what to talk of spiritual symptoms? So these symptoms are not ordinary symptoms. They come from spiritual plane. See, our jiva or our life, our atma, we are actually bonded between two energies, spiritual energy and material energy. There's a spiritual plane and there's a material plane. We are tatashta, in between. And as we increase our devotional service, especially when all our senses are engaged in the service of Krishna, especially hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. This will purify us. And then it will take you to a level when these symptoms appear automatically from the spiritual plane. Prabhupada says from a spiritual plane. I think all of you, most of us have heard Prabhupada's lecture on chanting Hare Krishna, very famous lecture. And one of the lines in that lecture says, or talk says, this can be read in the book called Science of Self-Realization. The lecture is printed. So he says that this holy name or the Mahamantra is not from this world, it's from the spiritual plane or the absolute word. Golakera Prema Dana Harinama Sankirtan. It has come from the holy land where Radharani, out of mercy, has given this name of Krishna to us. That's why Mahamantra begins by her name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Now, as Prabhupada speaks on that particular lecture, he says this chanting can uplift you on bodily way of life, mental and intellectual, and bring you to a strata which is spiritual. So these expressions which appeared in Uddhav, ecstatic symptoms, are no ordinary symptoms, because they can only appear when one is fully in love with Krishna. And such a person cannot live without Krishna. We should know that Uddhav was a relative, more or less a cousin of Krishna. At the same time, he was a devotee of Krishna. And third thing is, he also looked very similar to Krishna. Because when he went to Vrindavan, the gopis, when they saw him, at first they were confused. They thought it is Krishna, but it was someone else. So anyway, that's another topic. Now, if you go to this book known as Nectar of Devotion, I don't know how many of you have Nectar of Devotion. You must have. If you don't have, keep one always in home, because it's always good to refer to that book. When many questions arise, especially when you are making progress in devotional service, we are bound to face so many questions. And Nectar of Devotion, I have a copy in my hand. Well, this is a very special copy, if you see. This is Nectar of Devotion. So this Nectar of Devotion, it has 4 sections or 4 waves: Eastern, Northern, Southern, and Western. So we are not supposed to read all of it, but we read the first wave, the Eastern wave. That means the first 19 chapters. And as you read the first 19 chapters, then what Prabhupada mentions here do appear. 3 kinds of bhakti. The first one is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi means following the rules and regulations. Vidhi. Vaidhi comes from the word Vidhi. So from Vidhi Bhakti is the beginning. And as we follow the rules and regulations for a considerable time, Srila Prabhupada and even Rupa Goswami says, even if you develop a very high love, do not give up your rules and regulations, because they protect you. So bhakti, there is no bhakti without rules and regulations. And the rules and regulations are there to keep our bhakti safe, guarded from offenses, number one, from speculation, number two, number three, that we do not deviate from devotional service. And generally in the Vaidhi Bhakti, one section gives the importance of devotee association. If you perform devotional service in devotee association, you'll all be pushed higher and higher. In case you become weaker, the devotees will help you, lift you up. So Vidhi Bhakti means following the regulatory principles. Then the second level is by assimilation, realization of the steady condition in Krishna consciousness, in which the rules and regulations have become a part of your life. For example, waking up very early in the morning, taking a bath, dressing yourself, putting on a tilak, putting on clothes, performing arati, especially Mangal arati, chanting your rounds, worshipping Tulsi, and so on. These are, when they are done in a fixed way, then that is called Bhava Bhakti. So remember, the first one was called Vaidhi Bhakti. The second one is called Bhava Bhakti. It means the bhava or the emotion rises in your heart. Even when someone will speak Krishna in front of you, you'll be attracted to that person. If you see the deity of Krishna, you'll be attracted. If you see a devotee in front of you with a tilak, kantimala, you'll be attracted. Or if there's a Bhagavatam class or a Bhagavad Gita class, you'll be attracted. You'll be attracted by anything that is related to Krishna. That is called Bhava Bhakti, in which you are already steady. It's not that you're jumping your rounds. Someday you chant 2 rounds, sometimes you chant 18 rounds. No, you are fixed and you chant your rounds because you know that without chanting, I'll go down. That feeling already comes from your very heart. Your own mind will agree to that. And then going on to the highest level is called Prema Bhakti. Prema Bhakti means ecstasy symptomized by transcendental bodily expression, in which you are actually in love with Krishna. You can't live without Krishna. It's like a fish which is in the water. What happens to a fish if you remove the fish out of water? It will wriggle. It can even die. So the position of a person who is in the Prema Bhakti means is already in the ocean and is swimming in that ocean with the love of Krishna. So these 3 kinds, 3 levels of devotional service are very nicely explained in the Nectar of Devotion. Now, even before these 3 start, we are supposed to practice 9 devotional types of devotional services, as Prahlad Maharaj has explained. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. Does anybody know the rest? Which is the first one? Hearing. Second is chanting. Third is remembering. Then what is the fourth one?
Padadevayam.
What?
Archanam.
Archanam, yes, worshipping.
Vandanam. Sakyam,
No.
Dasyam, Atmanivedanam.
No. After Archanam is worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. Then there is Vandanam. Padasevanam. Then there is Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam. Then Vandanam. And in the end, which is the last one? Atma Nivedana. Yeah. So we have to keep ourselves busy in these 9 types of devotional service. I remember when we were very young, the radios used to be very big and then it became smaller, smaller, smaller. And it used to have a big button. You can always go to the station you like to hear. And practically everybody used to have radio. That was the only entertainment available. So we used to hear music, pop music or Indian music, whatever it is. And if you don't like station, we'll go to another station. If you don't like that station, we'll go to another station. So 9 types of devotional service means 9 stations. If you get tired of one, you go to another one. If you're tired of the second one, third one. In this way, the life has to be, or your day has to be organized in such a way that you visit all these stations. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pad, Sevanam, like that. And in this way, you keep yourself busy. The more you keep yourself busy, even when you are working, you can still practice that. The more you keep yourself busy, more your heart will be clear. And more you'll be closer to Krishna. Now, who spoke this verse? Does anybody know?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, Prahlad Maharaj, when his father asked him, what is that you learned in the first meeting? Then he says that this material world is Bhaya, Dushteshya, means it's like a dark world. At that time, the father didn't become angry. He became angry with the teachers. He said, what are you teaching my son? Now, when he was brought again, after being given so many punishments, and Prahlad Maharaj was protected by Lord Nrsimhadev. Now, the second time when he came, the father, as usual, he smelled his head and asked, what is the best thing you have learned? And he said, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. When he heard the word Vishnu in that verse, he threw him down at once. And his anger went up. And then he wanted to kill him. That's when Lord Nrsimha appears. So this verse is a very powerful verse, Shravanam, Kirtan. Prabhupada even quotes this verse in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. And he says, if the life is engaged in these 9 processes, there's no question of Maya. Because with these 9 processes, you can fight with Maya. So it says here that as you practice regularly, and furthermore, as you go further and further, you should be attracted to the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. As you hear the pastimes of Krishna. Now, when you say pastimes of Krishna, it means the entire Bhagavatam. Krishna as Matsya, Kurma, Ram, Vaman, Vara. All the pastimes, as you hear them, and especially Krishna's pastimes, as you hear them, then it's like eating sweet after your food. So sweet. Like in a Vedic culture, after having a normal meal, generally people take a piece of jaggery. You know jaggery? Good. It makes your mouth feel good. Even a simple man, he would keep jaggery in his house. So that after each meal, when he eats, you feel satisfied. You don't feel like eating again. So in the similar way, when you hear the pastime, the soul becomes sweetened. The soul feels so good that it has heard about Krishna. So here Srila Prabhupada says that regular hearing of the pastimes of Krishna, impurities of the heart get washed off. There will be no impurities in the heart. And naturally, the nishtha will come. Does anybody know the word nishtha? What does it mean?
Determination.
Yes, nishtha means determination. Another word for nishtha is dritta. Dritta means you become very strong. I must chant my rounds. I must wake up early. I must read Bhagavatam. I must hear Bhagavad Gita, and so on. I should only eat Krishna Prasadam. I should do this for Krishna. I should do this, so many things for Krishna. In this way, a person remains fixed in devotional service. That is called nishtha. So in the beginning, we spoke some words, if you recall. Ado Shraddha Sadhu Sang Bhajana Kriya, Anatha Nivrati, and then comes nishtha. 5th word. Sometimes some devotees complain, I can't chant my rounds. Sometimes I chant, sometimes I don't chant. Because you don't have nishtha. And when you don't have nishtha, it means the 4 things before that, you're not accomplished. You're not accomplished a good faith. You're not doing sadhu sang. you're not hearing properly, you're not glorifying Krishna properly. So don't expect the Nishtha to come. Not possible. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when a question was raised by Arjuna about coming here in this material world, he says it's due to Icha and Dvesha, material desires in our heart, and Dvesha, being envious to others. And then later on, Krishna explains, Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmana te dvenda moha nirmukta bhajanti mam dhritabhrita. Those who acted piously in their previous life and are also acting piously in this life, whose sinful activities have been burnt away, only such a person can engage in devotional service with determination. So if you study that verse deeply, there's something nagging. And what is the nagging coming in between? Your past sinful activities, or maybe even your present sinful activities. They actually bring obstacles in your devotion. So even when you're chanting, I've noticed some devotees, they can't chant even one good round properly. They'll sit down, they'll prepare themselves, they start chanting, and I think about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, they just stand up and just go away. Why? They have a disturbed mind. And when he asks them, he says, oh, this is left, that is left. It means you're not organized properly. When you're chanting, you should be well organized. Sit down or sit on a chair if you can't sit down in a yogic position. Or if you think you don't like the chair anymore, you can even walk slowly, take it with a small pace and seriously chant Hare Krishna. I was just hearing Prabhupada today, at around noon. Prabhupada says that if some important guest comes in your house, how well you treat them. You don't leave them and go. So when you're chanting, your guest is Krishna, remember that. And he's dancing on your tongue. You can't leave him. You chant till you finish your rounds. So keeping Krishna as your Atithi. Atithi means a guest. Make sure you treat him nicely, and happily he should hear the holy names. And this will make Krishna in your future your permanent guest. At present, he may be your temporary guest, but future will become your permanent guest. He will always be there when you are chanting. And actually, during chanting, Krishna is with us. So it says here that if you want to advance further and further in the bhava, like the bhava Uddhav had, then you should read the manual of Krishna consciousness, which we call it Nectar of Devotion. In Sanskrit, it's called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It systematically teaches you how devotional service has to be practiced. And this book has been written by the first and the foremost very loving devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Rupa Goswami. We took that effort to write this book. And he was totally pure, a pure devotee of Krishna. And with the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's written many, many books. But this book stands out to be very famous because this book is a manual for everyone. Now, imagine you are Vidura and someone else is Uddhav. Take Uddhav to be a pure devotee. Imagine you meet him and you ask Uddhav, how much you remember Krishna? What would Uddhav answer? Guess think that you are Uddhav. What will you reply? How would you reply? Because if you understand this situation, you'll understand this chapter. Otherwise, this chapter is not all that easy. This chapter is called Remembrance of Krishna. Who is remembering? Uddhav. And also Vidura. But most reflections are those from Uddhav. Okay, I'll answer that question. If I am Uddhav, and if I am asked by a layman, not Vidura, layman like us, ask Uddhav, how well or how much you remember Krishna, I'll definitely reply I can't forget Krishna. I can't forget Krishna. He was a person who was on such a high level that for him to forget Krishna was questionable. He cannot forget Krishna at a very high level. Here the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto. There's a beautiful conversation between Uddhav and Krishna. And that section is also called Uddhav Gita. Uddhav Gita, like the Bhagavad Gita we have, is Bhagavad Gita, or sometimes called Arjun Gita, this one. But the one in the 11th canto is called Uddhav Gita, which is very high and deep, that you can read about Krishna consciousness very deeply. So we should have a kind of a, what do you call, attraction for Bhagavatam, so that we read regularly, finish the 10th canto, and then go to 11th canto, where you can read the Uddhav Gita. And so many questions and answers. So a big conversation is there between Krishna and one of his best devotees, Uddhav. He is very, very dear to Krishna. Krishna, in another verse, says that they are just like me. It's like you and me are the same. Imagine Krishna is calling him like that. So, when Vidura meets Uddhav, he could see Uddhav when he's asking similar question about remembrance of Krishna. He goes into complete ecstasy. What is ecstatic symptoms? Is standing of the hair on the body, crying profusely, sweating, the body is shivering, goosebumps, his voice falters. These are some of the symptoms which you can read in the Nectar of Devotion, which can be exhibited by a pure devotee. So we should try to go for a very high level, not by jumping, but by gradually nurturing our devotional plant. Then we will come to that level. It's not that it is not valid for everyone. No, everyone is allowed to experience that, and you will come to that level. For example, if for those who have come to ISKCON maybe 5 years ago, to them Krishna is attractive. Those who have been here for 10 years, Krishna is more attractive. Those who have been here for 30 years, Krishna is very attractive. So imagine those who are here for 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. How much attractive is Krishna? Not just Krishna, the very name of Krishna is so attractive that at once, when someone will speak about Krishna, his memory will take him to his memory bank and open that bank where he had heard, where he had remembered, and how much he had enjoyed that pastime. So that is, because what keeps a devotee alive is Krishna's nectarian pastimes. Because then as he's chanting, he can recall, remember. Now when you say pastimes, it's not just pastimes. You will also remember who was speaking that pastime. It could be some devotee, or you heard it from some devotee far away. In this way, you'll remain in ecstasy as you practice Krishna consciousness. So this is a conversation between Vidura and Uddhav. And as we go further, he recalls all the pastimes. And then in the next chapter, again he continues. So Uddhav had so much remembrance of Krishna, as much as Arjuna had the remembrance. Arjuna remembered so many things, which I think we have done the chapter in the first canto. Was it first canto? Yes, first canto, where he had gone to Dwarka, stayed quite a long time, and here everyone was missing Arjuna. And when he returns, he was very pale, and he admits that now Krishna has folded his pastimes. That's why he was not happy. But as he remembered Bhagavad Gita and all those incidents, that the relationship or the pastimes he had with Krishna, his original color came. He became the same Rakta. Rakta means reddish, Arjuna. In the similar way, if we do not misuse our time and utilize our time properly in remembrance of Krishna by hearing, chanting, then they become kind of taped or assimilated in our brain. Whenever necessary, the brain will open up, the memory will open, and everything will come. Here Prabhupada says, these Krishna's activities takes the forms of steadiness. Your devotional service will become steady. Your firm faith will exhibit. The taste will increase. Realization will become more. And assimilation will also become faster. Even when a devotee says one sentence, at once you remember. All these things go in line, one after another. In a similar way, Vidur became more and more ecstatic when he saw Uddhav, how he responded. And he saw him rising to Mahabhava, not just Bhava, Mahabhava, very high emotion. Just like a mother whose son has gone to study for many, many years. And if she just remembers her son, she'll go into ecstasy. And a kind of situation that she will become sad, at the same time she'll become happy. But ultimately, she'll become emotional because her son is not there. But the day son comes back, just by seeing his son or his daughter, she'll become so happy that at least for some time the mother will cry, seeing her beloved children. In a similar way, simply by remembrance of Krishna, this ecstasy will appear in us. So what should we do? We should always try to hear more. Hear more, read more. I've seen some of our devotees, when they are free, they carry a book in their hand. And they're even walking and reading, imagine, in the temple, in the mezzanine floor upstairs, because there's no disturbance. And they can be reading the whole day. This is a very good habit. And I've seen one or two devotees of our temple, they do that. Others, they chant entire day. Others are always active, doing this and doing that. So we should try our best to come to that level so that we do not forget Krishna even for a moment. In the same nectar devotion, if you go to the 18th chapter, then some 9 things have been explained, and one of them, Rupa Goswami explains, is a devotee does not waste his time. He utilizes all his time in the service of Krishna, either by hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, cooking, making garlands, preaching, and many, many other activities. Because any activity of Krishna is none different from Krishna. It is absolute. So it lifts your heart and it brings pleasure to you. And you feel like doing more and more and more. In this way, this is the life of a pure devotee. He doesn't waste his time. Hare Krishna. Here the time is over. If you have any questions or if you like to have any additions, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for this session today and explaining us the various steps to reach to bhava and then prema. Prabhuji, obviously we are not at that level, but what if somebody is in the state of bhava and prema? I mean, they will be crying and they will be like Uddhava. They would experience all these symptoms. So at that time, what should they be doing? I mean, what is the medication for that?
Okay. A pure devotee will not exhibit this. He'll keep it hidden. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains this, that even if this ecstasy appears, he will not show. And even if he exhibits, he will only exhibit in front of very pure devotees, because he knows that nobody will understand this feelings, this manifestation of ecstasy. Nobody can understand. Because some people may think that you've gone mad. Some people may think you've gone crazy. Some people may think you are pretending. So it's better to hide those symptoms. Even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to hide his symptoms. He never exhibited symptoms. He'll only exhibit his symptoms in front of his very close devotees, because they could understand what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going through. So that is my answer. Okay?
Prabhuji, my question was, what should that devotee be doing? I mean, yeah, definitely he keeps it a secret, but should he be chanting more, or should he be reading more, or should he, in that state, what should he do?
No, in that ecstasy, he generally can't chant. He's chanting within himself. You may not see his mouth also moving. And in that Baba, he's already in another world. If you try to talk to him, he won't reply you, because he's completely on another level. Prabhupada calls it, he's on a spiritual plan. It's very difficult. Prabhupada sometimes, not many times, exhibited these symptoms. I will give you some of them. One day or many days, whenever you sing Radha Madhav, and you use his harmonium or kartal, and while he's singing, he used to go completely get lost. And the devotees knew that at that time, Prabhupada was not here. That is one. Number two, when he, when Prabhupada was in London Rathayatra, when the crowd became more, Prabhupada started dancing at such an advanced age. He was dancing, and he danced for 2 hours continuous. That is an ecstatic symptoms. He's with his famous picture of hands raised, chanting and throwing flowers to people. He was in ecstasy. Sometimes there are some incidents you'd be talking to Krishna. Nobody can see, but Prabhupada can see Krishna. Or sometimes you'd go in front of the altar and pray to Krishna. So these are some of the things, at least we can see the symptoms from our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada himself. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Any questions? Urmila Mataji, do you have a question?
It is a very simple question. Prabhuji, this Vishta word you said, I've heard for the first time, means determination. So, what's the spelling?
Nistha, not Vishta, Nishta.
Nishta, yeah, that I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, in Gujarati
Nishta,
also.
yeah.
In Gujarati, we also say Nishta. In
Yeah.
Sanskrit,
Oh,
it's
I
also
got it, yeah.
Nishta. You got it?
Yeah, Nishta, and I heard as Vishta, so I thought
No,
I'm
no,
hearing for the first time.
Nishta.
Nishta, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, any other question?
If there are no other questions, I can hand over to Path Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, are you able to end the session for today? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavata Pranam Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhuji, one thing I'm just asking inquiry. Like you are talking about the Mahabhava, Vidurji is developing that one. And after that, this Mahabhava is not continue. For example, for an ecstatic devotee, he is always in Mahabhava or sometimes in Mahabhava, sometimes in a bodily platform like this, like that.
No, he's generally, Mahabhava is exhibited only sometimes. But that doesn't mean that he comes on a bodily platform. He still remains as a pure devotee of Krishna. So he cannot fall on a bodily platform. That is already surpassed. But this Mahabhava, first is Bhava and then there is Mahabhava. You can read this nicely in the Nectar of Devotion. Very well explained by Rukma. Okay?
Okay. Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, His Grace Rukma Prabhuji. And I also thanks all the devotees who joining here. I request everyone, please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra for a glorification of His Grace Rukma Prabhuji. Please join everyone. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kripa sindhubhya eva cha, patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai
Rukma Prabhu ki jai.
Jai
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Raj Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai